Welcome back into Earth in Transition. What if, or once upon a time, humanity was a tremendous artist, and wherever human being was going, it was just filling the trees and the forest and the lakes and the rivers and the creeks, and it was just grabbing a few stones, putting them into some specific shape of a mandala that was just emerging from the inside out, and left. And like that, in a few years, the whole of the Earth orbit was crowned with creativity and beauty. That could be one of the functions of humanity on this planet. That will be what we will try to call in for the next hour. And thrilled to receive you, Sebastian. We will slightly move into the spaces where we will co-create with this little forest of Pessicart. And I will immediately now make you host so that we can have a beautiful transmission on forest at the same time. Are you willing eventually to quickly introduce what basically that you're up to, what it is that you stand for, and yeah.
Absolutely, thank you. Hello everyone. So my name is Sebastian Kitchen, and very briefly, about 7 years ago, I did a course in syntropic farming, and it was the first course in Australia in this technique, syntropic farming. And it was just outside of Byron Bay, organized by a fellow called Tiago Barbosa. And it had just come straight over the ocean from Brazil. And it was a really exciting time. It radically changed my life. Basically, I found something that I really deeply believed the world needed to know about. And it from that moment, it really changed the next 7 or 8 years of my life and continues to. So it was a way into understanding the forest and understanding through the forest, understanding nature in a deeper way. And at the same time, it has all these wonderful solutions for our planet, which you were alluding to. So those are the topics that I want to explore today. And I've got some photos from the journey that it's taken me on, which basically has been a film journey, with the idea that kind of was born from that first course was to create a feature-length documentary about syntropic farming and about the forest. And yeah, that's my story. That's what I am here to share.
Thank you so much. So just to let you have a quick picture of what is here, we have 1 hectare of Mediterranean forest that Pietro Zucchetti is being redesigning after some great designer like Tierra Martinez have been also beginning to redesign through water management, so a system of pond and swales and beginning to introduce soil regeneration and the presence of water. And now basically Pietro just told us, okay guys, we will prepare something that is ready for 25 years ahead, when the climate here is not anymore Mediterranean but subtropical. And so he has introduced more intensively syntropic farming, but it also merges that with his own way to feel into permaculture design and food forest. So it's a kind of his own way to do this. And even more down to earth, we have like kind of various spaces that are slightly being transformed from this kind of oak, olive trees and so forth, pine trees, into mango trees and dragon fruits and roses, and a lot of roses. So it's quite a change that we're experiencing, but it feels like we are also living this momentum of change for this planet. You are on a computer on a chair. We are leading you down from 1 or 2 terraces, and we will be receiving you from that place, and we will be at the same time preparing this double arch with Pietro.
Beautiful. That's fantastic. Wow. It's such a future to step into for the south of France, having mango trees and a tropical future. I didn't quite realize that's what's in store for you over there. So yeah, fantastic. That's great. Yeah.
See you very soon.
Cool.
Est-ce qu'éventuellement, si quelqu'un vient avec moi, if anyone coming with me, taking the phone and I will take the...
You're going to take him on a tour?
Yes, I'm gonna...
Can I tour with you?
En fait, oh non, c'est juste de le tenir parce que c'est notre Internet. Moi, je fais le reste.
It's a tour of the garden?
No, we're going to where the land art performance will... Ouais, c'est bon. So, Pietro, I'm introducing you to Sebastian, Sebastian to Pietro.
Nice to meet you, Sebastian. We are just working on land arts. GPP is composed by several land arts. Yeah.
Sebastian, do you more or less hear us? We'll check. Everything is working. Are you hearing us? Maybe are you muted? Or...
Oh, I was muted. My mistake.
Oh,
I was
okay,
hearing.
good, great. All right.
Sorry. I didn't even realize you had bananas in the south of France. That's
And they begin to produce. It's quite a shock for many people. Yeah, anyway, we begin to have bananas produced. Like, yeah. And until now, you put a banana tree, it was continuing to live, but basically it was just like for decoration. No bananas was produced. And now with the weather changes, like much more rain and more heat at the same time and more even seasons. So we're really heading towards this kind of subtropical climate. So you're now at the entrance of the garden, and it is where we're gonna build this these arches.
beautiful.
Vous voulez passer peut-être? Voilà, on va laisser un petit espace.
C'est
Exactement.
par là pour sortir.
C'est tout droit, vous voyez un petit espace entre les voitures.
Ok. Merci beaucoup.
De rien.
Bonne journée.
Merci.
Mets ton téléphone derrière l'écran.
So everyone, I will move to my presentation now. I hope you can see that. There we go. If someone can let me know if you can see the presentation, that'd be great. And I'll get started. So as I was saying, while they are doing their land art performance, I'll be sharing about the forest and the documentary The Forest Explains. So my name is Sebastian Kitchen, and yeah, 7 years ago I did a course in syntropic farming, and it radically changed my life. And it was the first course that was ever done in Australia, just outside of Byron Bay. It was organized by a fellow called Tiago Barbosa, and it had come from Brazil. Syntropic farming comes from Brazil. And what was really special about it was that it was something that purported to be packaging all of these solutions to our local and global crises into one label, one teaching. So as a 23-year-old at the time, it was very exciting. Here was a thing that was going beyond what permaculture proposed and was actually proposing a systematic way of going about food forestry. One that could deliver on commercial viability, that had clear principles to follow, and that could be applied in any climate, any place where forests grow. And it was also a thing that was creating topsoil whilst freeing itself entirely from chemical inputs. And perhaps most importantly, that it came from a deeper comprehension of and a faith in life and the cooperative nature of life. And when I say life, I say it with a capital L, and I mean the living biological systems all around us, whose complexity we're only really grasping at understanding. So this photo here is from Misty Creek Agroforestry, which is in the Byron Shire in northeast New South Wales in Australia. And you can see a little corrugated iron. It's actually a chicken coop, and they are running chickens in their forest. And through that, they're commercially viable in an Australian context, whilst creating a forest and without using chemical fertilizers or inputs. It's a really fantastic example. So with syntropic farming, we're talking about a thing that starts to resolve some of the tensions between reforestation, biodiversity, and agriculture. And it's something that could see us reforest the planet and, I believe, help us fulfill our birthright as a species on this planet once again. And so when I did this course, I said to myself, this is something the world needs to know about. This is something that needs a feature-length documentary made about it. So I took the money I was lucky enough to have inherited, and I found a equally inspired filmmaker in the likes of Tom Busby. He's the fella here with the drone. And this photo is actually taken from MST, which is a group that we were working with. Well, I should say MST is the largest social movement in the world, and it's a network of peasants who are creating, well, they're using agroecology and agroforestry to recover degraded land. So with this film, we've toured through 5 countries: Brazil, the States, Portugal, a pit stop in Italy, and also through Australia. We've filmed with Indigenous Amazonian Banawa people and the Kariri people of Bahia in documenting their connection to nature, to life, and to the forest. And we have filmed with landless peasants in Brazil, as I mentioned. We have filmed with scientists and thought leaders, such as the ICRL laboratories at Princeton University, and the ever so wise Charles Eisenstein. And we've filmed with a range of syntropic farming educators, such as Namaste Messerschmidt, Patricia Vass, as well as others such as Gudrun Gotch, Fabiana, Scott Hall, Tiago Barbosa, Banya Halas, Misty Creek Agroforestry, and the list goes on. This is a photo taken from Reflorestal Portugal, which is a reforest Portugal movement. And they were the first to bring the syntropic farming courses to Portugal. And Portugal is known for its wildfires, and this is a place in Portugal where Wendy Howard, the person in this photo, her little farm didn't catch fire potentially because it is a permaculture farm and has so much moisture in it, and all around burnt. So I'm going to play 2 trailers from my documentary, and that will give you a bit of an idea. And then I'll speak more about, from that place, I think it'd be a good starting off point.
complementary to entropy.
How to create systems that give and receive to create abundance. No more waste.
Oh.
No more desolation.
Entropy being the tendency of the universe toward disorder, the egg to easily break, but not so easily to randomly come together again.
No more disaster born of ignorance.
So he's positing an opposite principle of the universe toward more and more order, which actually meshes a lot more closely to our lived experience.
No more questioning why am I here? The forest explains how to be in harmony with our home. The forest explains how to transcend our disconnection, how to rediscover the order within chaos, how to surrender to nature. Discover your purpose amidst the chaos.
So that's the first trailer. And then we have another one, which I'd like to share with you. I hope the sound is coming through good. Let me just check.
The forest is a home full of life. But when we have been destroyed in order to live the only way we know, we need the forest and the forest needs us. How do we resolve this existential crisis? We've spent 5 years documenting a solution that is more profound than anything we could have ever imagined. Syntropic farming, the most advanced form of agroforestry available.
Entropy is very important medicine for civilization design.
I think that syntropy is how to work the way the planet works.
Syntropic forests sequester unprecedented amounts of CO2 back into the soil.
This is a system in which you're designing it for maximum biomass. So really there should be nothing else that will touch it, including even some of the natural systems.
Syntropic farming creates a macroorganism protecting crops from pestilence, fires, floods, and droughts.
In this place, when I first came, they used to water twice a day. And in this here, it's once a week.
Syntropic food is organic, regenerative, and dense with nutrition.
Thank you for farming. It's like such a beautiful thing.
With a forest as a teacher, anyone, anywhere, can feel a deep sense of belonging, with purpose, empowered to regenerate land, once grown an abundance of food.
We must prune our ego, kind of clearing ourselves. Then we are syntropic. Then we can learn.
Through these voices, the forest explains.
Two words. Plant, food. And increase life.
Oh, so there you go. I'll take this back to full screen somehow. So I've just seen two trailers for the same documentary, and as you can tell, they're quite different. One of them is mystical, and it has a young female narrator, and it features Indigenous Amazonian forest stewardship practices. And it's all about foregrounding the forest's wisdom. And the other one, it's about syntropic farming, and it has a deep masculine voice, and it's all about how wonderful it is and all the crisis-solving credentials that syntropic farming has, its commercial viability, and so forth. And these are two poles of wisdom and practicality. They kind of represent the spectrum of what the film The Forest Explains is about, and also the spectrum of what I understand the forest to represent and what I want to talk about today. But there's evidently an underlying theme here of how do we get back into relationship with nature, and how do we go about marrying reforestation with agriculture? How do we make the forest, if not our home, then the place that we go to from our home every day? And that begs the question, what is the role of human beings? How important is the forest to us? And what is the ideal ecosystem for us to be living in? So I want to focus on the philosophical elements here, but also I would touch into the poetic, the scientific, the spiritual, the ecological, because I think they all mesh in this topic. So what are we talking about when we talk about the forest? An explanation that's often given is that the forest is a climax ecosystem. And this is a shot of the Rio Negro, one of the main arteries in Brazil, and one of the main river systems in the Amazon. And so a forest represents nature at peak functioning, stacking stunning layers of biodiverse life, and by doing so having a terraforming impact, regulating the water and rain cycle, carbon cycle, temperature cycle, nutrient cycle, etc. And it's helping balance the climate on the planet and spread ecosystems across the whole planet. So of the land-based ecosystems, the forest is the one with the biggest impact on a planetary climatic level. So in some very significant way, it is a very direct access point to life with a capital L. That is to say, to the wisdom of nature, to short and long feedback loops, it's a way into quite effectively being initiated into the wisdom of nature. Now, why is it so significant working with the forest? Because it's one way to think about it is it's like transporting yourself from what might be a quite barren and isolated modern existence and plonking you in the middle of a spider's web of meaningful relationships where you have a very significant impact. But the shift here is to an impact which is more devotional and a deep attunement to a much greater intelligence. And in this view, the trees are not individuals, rather they are parts of a greater whole. And they all talk to each other all the time. You can't be lonely when you're doing this stuff, when you have all these trees around you, and it's very hard to be unfulfilled. But it does require a perspective shift. It does require an openness to suspending the incessant cynicism of the rational, empirical, materialist mindset. And it requires a baseline of humility to be penetrated by a new understanding. Now, I'm not talking about investing in measuring the electrical conductivity of mycelial networks, although for some, that will be their most comfortable starting point. I'm talking about investing in pruning a different species tree next to another one and observing the impact. The lived experience knowledge is what this movement needs now. The science will catch up to the innovation in its own timing. But right now, humans need to be lifted up by the inner knowing of greater connection and of greater powers on our side. That is to say, we need to know that we know how to work with nature. And yes, that also means at times a much greater humility and patience, because the greater system that we are a part of does not dance to our tune, but it will dance with us if we have been following along to the tune that is already being played. This is a photo, I think, from Krishna village also in the Byron Shire, northeast New South Wales. So, thanks, Olivia. Yeah, I'm loving it too. It's nice to share about this. So there is a level of systemic thinking complexity that the forest represents as a direct access for us to nature's wisdom, which is far beyond individual human comprehension. And as the founder of syntropic farming, Ernst Scotch, likes to say, it's a more intelligent system that we are a part of, that we have a function within. So there's a note of deep humility here, and also a note of deep empowerment. I would say in some ways to a depth of realization on both sides, humility and empowerment, to a degree that most modern humans probably have never known. Our function, our role as humans, is to catalyze life. We are in service to the forest and to life itself as a catalyzing force for growth, life, regeneration. Our potential to regenerate this planet is just as strong, if not stronger, than our potential to degenerate it. So earlier, when I asked what is the ideal ecosystem of the human being, well, it is the ecotone, which is to say that space of biological diversity on the edge of two ecosystems. We are edge dwellers. It's that old permaculture principle. Biodiversity thrives on the edge. Human beings are healthiest when they have diverse ecosystems that they are in regular contact with. The microbes of our gut are in direct relationship with the microbes of the soil and the air, and the microbes on our skin are connected to microbes on the surfaces of the beings, the plants and the animals, of the things that we touch, and then they find their way into our gut, which is connected to our brain. So there's an important eco-physiological relationship here. And they say when, there are studies that have been done when people have their hands in soil, they're literally feeling better. Their mental health improves, and it's been linked to a microbial connection. And we are mammals. Going back to this eco-physiological relationship, we are mammals, and if we are going to be sedentary in the forest, that is, if we have a domesticated home in the forest, then we need a bit of a clearing to keep our mammalian lungs from breathing mold. It is possible to live without a clearing, but it's easy to get sick unless you're moving around the forest all the time, catalyzing life in different parts of the forest, and not staying long enough to let mold grow on your hammock. So if we go back to the inspiration for syntropic farming, to the Amazonian indigenous peoples, and maybe before I go into this, I'll just speak to this photo here. This is the farm in Byron Bay. Living Agroecology, Banya Halas and Evan Anderson set this up. It's a wonderful educational space, as you can see, the beautiful spiral in the middle, and a great kind of testament to syntropic farming. This here is a cacao production in the understory of a rainforest in Bahia on Gudrun Gotch's property, the daughter of Ernst Scotch, the founder of syntropic farming. So cacao and coffee, they like to grow in the shade, and hence the best coffee and best cacao you can get. This is a very premium crop right here because it is grown in the shade of bigger trees like jackfruit and other emergent rainforest trees. So back to the Banawa people who we filmed with, and this concept of of the relationship with the forest, of the need to have a clearing, and how that also promotes a certain kind of agriculture with the forest. The Indigenous people have a technique called the horsa, which is the clearing that they make, and it's a consecutive process of another round clearing, another round clearing. And when they make a clearing, they allow the life cycle of the forest to grow back and replicate itself again. They don't intervene again. They just, once they've made the clearing, they let it come back. And they might put plants in and seeds, but a lot of the seeds are already there. And so in so doing, they are producing vegetables, fruits, and timbers and medicine. And they're also producing terra prata, which is the black earth or the black gold, the soils that the Amazon is famous for. You see photos where it's just topsoil and it goes down for meters. And you have rich fertility going meters down, having been stewarded for thousands of years. And this is why this is a photo here of a horse or of a clearing in the Amazon. And you can already see the regrowth there. You can see the remnants of fire, because this group, were using fire for their practice, which it can be done without the use of fire. It does require more work, and it isn't. And without fire, it is probably a bit more regenerative, but yeah, there is a practicality to the use of fire as well. And when it's used in this context, it's really still allowing the regrowth of the forest. You can see here, this is a horsa again, where the life cycle is a bit further along, and you can already see the trees are coming back. So we've got a photo here of someone managing a banana, and this is getting to the heart of what that direct relationship is all about. And one of those principles really is pruning. So one of the facets of syntropic farming is to listen to the plants and observe them so as to know, are they happy where they are? Do they need more shade? Do they need more sun? Do they need to be pruned? And observing and interacting. So let's get down to some practicals, some of the technical parts of what syntropic farming is all about. I feel like there's been enough focus on the deeper listening part. So we've got some people in France over there. They're co-creating with the forest. And these are some of the things I might be paying attention to, the succession of the species. And I'll zoom back a bit. And you may have heard of entropy in high school. And it's a physics term that refers to diverging energy and linear time. And its mathematical complement, its literal twin, which they forgot to teach you about in high school, is syntropy, which refers to converging energy and a kind of non-linear time. Actually, it's time going backwards, but you might need to ask me about that later. So when you create a clearing, it's an entropic impact. You're taking all these trees, cutting them down, and letting the microbes get to work, breaking these complex woody systems into simple systems, topsoil, turning carbon into all kinds of other nutrients, so that you have the huge reservoir of fertility on the ground, a reservoir of fertility which is in much better quality than the fertilizers you'll get from the fertilizer store. And this soil can then be used to grow the next phase of the forest, the next succession of complex life, perhaps a fruit-bearing tree, where before there's only a woody, pioneering, carbon-rich, nitrogen-fixing tree. So these are the key principles of syntropic farming, of pruning or pulsing, as it is known, succession or the life cycle, which is the story through time, and then there's stratification, which is the story through space, which is to say light and shade. So when we close these cycles of entropy and syntropy, and we prune and we feed the forest with itself, we have as you can see here, there's been a pruning event and there's a bunch of organic matter on the ground that's feeding the soil. So we have a forest story which is building more and more life into it, and it's not just because of the fertility that this is occurring, but it's actually because there is a growth pulse impact, which is to say that there's a message sent through the roots and the mycelial network saying, hey, it's time to grow. There's more sun, there's more fertility, let's get going. And so it's a bit like, the analogy I use is a bit like exercise or breath work. And it's a way of, Olivia, I can hear you coming in.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll continue. And yeah, it's a way of seeing the forest as one organism. So when you make a prune, it's kind of like the heartbeat increases, and that increases the forest's productivity. So when you're intentional with a chainsaw or a machete, just as a parasite or the ants are intentional in which tree they choose to take down, they're actually doing a really healthy thing. They are facilitating the death that needs to occur to allow more life. It's a deeply cooperative act with the greater whole of life. And here's a understanding of how it occurs on the X and Y axis. Stratification is the Y axis, where you've got low, medium, high, and emergent. And then the succession is up the top there, from days through to years. And you plant all of these together. So, but through the management, it increases the speed of the cycles of life and death. So we're actually increasing the growth of old growth forests. And in this way, we can, what might take hundreds of years for a forest to do can occur in several decades, perhaps. And that also means that, and it has been studied as well in Brazil, that syntropic forests can sequester more carbon more quickly than wild forests do. And here's a pruning and management day in Brazil. So that's a bit of a basic sketch of syntropy and entropy and how it manifests in syntropic farming, in succession and stratification. So the idea really is to fill each of these niches, and the more that you fill them, the more resilient your forest is. But it's a lot to kind of figure all that out. And one way to do it, to think about that knowledge and that encyclopedic knowledge, is not so much memorizing tables like this, but having more of a intimate relationship with the forest, and then listening and observing closely what the plant needs. And in that way, these things of, oh, where is it? Is it a low? Is it a medium? Is it a high? When, you know, how long does it need to live for? When should it come out of the system? Those things kind of answer themselves through that process of observation and close relationship. So this is through this technique of succession and stratification, you can create a consortium, and a consortium is like a group of plants working together through time and space. So it's a bit like a guild in permaculture design, but it's got these understandings of succession and stratification. So yeah, a key factor here is planting enough biomass, which is the service trees, the organic matter producing trees, so that you can prune them and feed your forest organism. And this is the role that eucalyptus and banana have. You can see here that they're pruning eucalyptus in Brazil. In temperate climates, things like prickly pear and willow are used. These species produce a lot of wood, or they store a lot of water, and those things feed the soil. So one of the main tasks in syntropic farming, it's not really weeding, but it's rather pruning, what is referred to as management. And basically the costs of syntropic farming are not associated with the inputs that you buy from the agriculture store, but rather with the labor required, especially in the early years of establishment. So I want to show you an example here of something I'm really proud of, which is the landless people in Brazil who are using agroforestry on land like this, very dry. Looks like it's impossible to grow anything. And yet here, this is a drone shot of one of their systems. You know, they're growing food for their families, they're creating incomes, livelihoods, and they're regenerating that land that no one else is using, but big businesses own. Brazil hasn't had the land reform that other countries have had. So there's another example of the syntropic system, and you can see it's basically an oasis in the desert. And here's some of the photos of the MST families that we were working with in this location, which is basically a desert. So that's my presentation, and I want to leave you with an amazing shot of some fungi. This was taken by Tom Busby, the director of our film. It was a time lapse he did overnight, and I really love it. So thanks for listening along.
Thank you so much, Sebastian, for all it unleashes in terms of pathways and deep symbols also. Like I'm feeling also culturally we're also in a period of time where we could be pruning quite a lot of ancient ways to regenerate our souls. And like the next presentation will be a kind of goodbye concert. So her last album is called Goodbye, and it will be from a local artist singing nonetheless in English, Junie. We will now, I will take again you in a tour of the Jardin de Petit Pessicart to go up and see what the group has been preparing. And actually I was speaking about arches, and like quite organically, the group just decided to more use like plant-based solutions and actual living plants instead of dead branches, etc. So they have been preparing some kind of what Fukuoka was calling forest bombs. And so let's go up there. Thank you so much again, brother.
For sure. Thank you.
C'est à côté du refus entre les deux. Non, c'est pratiquement arrivé comme
Il y a des riz par steak aussi, est-ce qu'on en met dedans? J'ai pas sucré. Ah bah c'est trop bien. Ah j'adore.
This one is more I have to work also on spaces. So this is a big space for the big rosemary. This is west, east. So
Really wrong. It's for local wasabi.
Because Piedmont, in Italy, Piedmont, so you go northern, okay, rosemary must be south. But here, maybe not, that will be fresher as well, you know. So, it's very soft.
Yeah, it's very soft.
Yeah. So, this is because I was working, it's wet here. Okay, you can try. Okay, in this case, yes. Yes. Take the bottom maybe. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and you can plant.
Yes?
Yes. You plant yourself.
What are you guys planting?
The aromatics, rosemary, sages, thyme.
You were not online when you shared something that will echo Sebastian's presentation on syntropic farming. I found really beautiful what you explained about the holistic approach and the one root, etc. Can you share for the?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, what you need to do, press a lot. Okay, this is very important because if remain hair around the roots, the plants will dry. So when you say, oh, this rosemary, just plant is dry because not
Need to
pressed enough.
push. Okay. But you said because if you don't, what happens?
The hair,
Roots
oxygen
dry out. Okay.
is too much and dry the roots.
Yeah, it will, the osmosis will bring out the water.
Okay.
So a lot of pressure and that's it. When you do the potager or the market garden with annuals, then you put the tomato, for example, and you water immediately, no?
Yeah.
Okay. That is good because it's taking all the oxygen out, all the air out, the water. Okay. In this case, there are perennials, big plants. It doesn't work very well with water like this. So it's better pressure.
Okay.
A lot of pressure. Then I will do again broya, as much as I can. We will take, then we will put more broya when we finish.
How do you call it? Boy.
Broya.
Wood
I don't know.
Wood crutch?
Wood chip. Mulch.
Mulch.
Yes. Okay, so now you think about, we have to fill it up this. These are very wide, those plants. I see a lot of gaps. You see?
Yeah.
Then you become a maniac. Say, oh no, what's it doing? Let's put the time. So why don't time? It's too much. Yeah, because this is just planted. Then will become huge.
Yeah.
All together, So that so let's do some observation. You do it now,
Which one's the sage?
Sage, thyme.
Pepper?
Yeah, you bring everything we have.
Get them?
This one's the sage for some
There
reason.
are a lot of almonds here, right?
Sage.
Okay, let's finish this one. Yeah. So we have to concentrate.
Just checking I'm not muted. Yeah. Here we have a little grape vine that is returned to its true nature, which is not to be like a fruit that is reduced each year and cultivated as a monoculture on naked soils, then full of entrance with chemicals, at the best eventually organic. It is about to climb on an almond tree, and vines are naturally climbing everywhere. So their DNA is about climbing and producing food in between all branches of many trees. So eventually here proposing a kind of future for viticulture, which will be on trees rather than on this pretty sad monoculture vineyards.
Etc. So scientifically, you are saying that sage is there. Okay, let's put there. Just put the photo over there and leave the post. Okay, let's see. Now we ask the plant.
Yes.
This is probably connected to the above much more than us. No? So let's see.
Yeah.
Okay, this is perfect like that.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, thank you. I was feeling like happy first.
So,
It's good.
Yeah.
All
So
the
we
ways of knowing.
also use some talking to universe and radioactivity,
exactly.
you know, stuff like that.
You live here?
No,
No.
I live in Italy,
Where in Italy?
Ventimiglia.
You have a farm?
I have a farm in Piedmont.
Okay.
So all those plants are planted like this. So, fruiting, but then lots, otherwise nothing. And then we ask as well. And you look, when you ask, the harmony is totally different. If you plant the same things, without much connection, asking things, less love, etc., it will not be better.
They'll loosen it up a little bit. Yeah.
Secret ingredient to thriving.
Connection.
The connection and love.
Energy. Love is energy anyway. So.
Do you teach at your farm? Do you do workshops?
No anymore.
No.
No, because I'm selling my farm. Because I'm moving towards Ventimiglia now. I'll buy a new land because I want to do tropicals.
Nice.
Yes, in Piedmont you can do tropicals. And I'm with board now with bomb.
You've done it enough.
I can't even do almonds. I can't plant grenadier. You see, everyone has got this. I can't. It's too cold.
Here we're having the PDC here, so we're having permaculture design course each year, and we can also follow permaculture diplomas, which are between 2 and 5 years to really specialize on this.
Even apricots is a problem, you know. And I have the German medlars, and then grapes, and then kiwi, stuff like that.
And you're tired of that.
Very tired. The banana from the tree, almondier, grenadier. I want some mango, you know, from my land, you know.
You have to go to Hawaii.
Yes. Stash, you know.
Visit our farm.
Exactly. Okay, you carry on to someone else. Okay, so this is fantastic. Now, next one. I see lots of gaps. Plenty of space.
Something really wants to go here.
Yes. So,
What
what?
are our choices again? Sage. I feel like another sage. Another sage, yeah? You feel another sage?
So, let's see what
Let's
we
see.
have.
Yeah.
If you have a sage, let's take the sage there. Let's see how you feel with the sage, how the sage feel with you, with the place.
Constituted as rebirthed here.
Man, it's like a forest.
Yeah.
Good suit forest. Suit everywhere, man. If you go there, it's a good suit everywhere. On the corner, is a huge suit.
Apricots we have?
I'm not sure if it's the sage or the
It's been eaten, I think, apricots. Early, yeah.
What?
You see that?
Yeah.
But you see the avocatier got avocado.
No?
Yeah, full
Okay.
of avocado.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's full, man. There's a lot of avocado this year.
Beautiful.
Okay, so let's have okay, so time there. Why? Fair to go there. Other people, what do you feel about the time?
How big is it?
Well, time is very low.
Yeah.
Too wide, it's not very big.
Yeah, it would be like here.
Yeah.
in this one.
Yeah. Okay.
Will
If
it
you
have enough
Google,
sun exposure there?
there is
If
no.
the other ones grow out, will it be a little in the shade?
That feels good. Yeah.
Yeah, for example, in this case, okay, there is a huge gap here.
Yeah.
No, but it's not. But it's okay.
I want to feel it. Yeah.
No, it's okay because it says here it's good.
Ah, okay.
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 But we have options.
Mm.
No, if we have not much plant, I will put this more in the center, so it will develop all here. But if we have more plants than we have, I can put another one there.
Ah, you said so it will develop earlier.
Okay, so if you say the double plant,
Okay.
same,
I see.
which is
Or you
nice.
could do different.
Okay, no, I want another time.
Uh-huh.
Can you please another?
One
Thank you. If you have these,
No,
another one.
anymore.
No.
No.
Okay, because in this case you can do three triangle stuff.
Ah, okay.
So you can put something like one here, one here, one here.
There, that feels really
Then you become a huge
Yeah,
plant.
yeah, yeah.
It's
I'm gonna
nice.
get one. Yeah, I'll go get it.
And it's very nice.
I want to get some water. Okay.
And or I can say, look, I will put two time here, maybe another sage, another rosemary here. You know,
We also have a
Oh.
parsley friend.
this is not parsley.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
What is it?
This is I don't no. This is a bush.
Ah.
It's a medicinal plant.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And this I don't know the name in English. It's
In Italian? What is it?
I think it's lonicera. But
Celery?
Celery.
no, not celery.
No.
It's not celery.
Il est proposé ça.
No. This is a particular medicinal plant. Yeah, that basically you have to do the oil from the roots, or we could do some decoction with the leaves. And it's got also beneficial stuff for the stomach and antibacterial stuff. And yeah, it's all about the stomach digestion tract. Yeah, that's very nice because well, I can't find usually around. You know,
Mhm.
I found 20 plants.
Took them all.
Yeah.
Adopted.
I'm also a plant dealer. Sure, yeah. Bush plants.
Right. Well, screw can finish the land art performance. And we're gonna take a little break here to finish this. Eventually to have a little meal. And yeah, we'll see you in 40 minutes for a live from Juni. See you very soon.
Give them good homes, so I'm sure they're happy to be.
Yeah, okay. The mistake is fundamental.
No.
We have to make mistake. No, a lot. I'm dealing with 20%. 20% mistake is enough to the stimulations. Already with 20%. So when you make a mistake, is a suggestion to say, is another point of view. Maybe my subconscious did because there is something, some other possibilities, you know. And you start water with that. Can I drink a little bit after? Thanks.
It was Daryl.
Yeah.
Frosted lavender too.
Thank you very much. It's over.
No.
Oh, it's over. So, merci beaucoup. Okay, look, beautiful now.
Yeah.
You see? 3. Why? Beyond. Let's go beyond.
Table.
Why 1? No, the same. Don't change, you know. So you can.
C'est bon, il a bu?
Come on.
Ouais, merci.
Perfect. Nice.
How deep do
Yeah,
you go?
that's really good. Ah, vous êtes encore planté.
Must I be up there?